record, and go.
And action. Okay, so in 15 minutes, and I apologize for spending more time. I don't really apologize. I'll take it back. It's partly manufactured. So let's go in 15 minutes. This is how things exist around you, right? Deceptive or conventional reality, according to the Svatantrikas, which is the school we're studying under. So say lo nume. So lo nume la nangwa wang yi shaktam. So if you're writing it down, lo is mind, nume means hurt not, me is not, la is to, nangwa is appears, so to appears. Wang yi, what's wang? What's a wang? Power, go you.
I've got the notes in front of me.
And then what's zak? Zak is established or as existing, and some is just. So let's go back to lo nu me. So this is how things exist around you. They say lo nu me is a mind hurt not. What would that be like? What would that mean? Mind hurt not. It's an unimpaired mind, unimpaired by drugs or alcohol or delusions, and even there is a subtle form of that, which, you know, when you're standing and you're looking at a cloudy sky and the moon moves and you think you're falling or something, or that building is moving because the cloud's moving too fast. Yeah, they even say that that's one of those impaired minds. So a mind that is not under the influence of any of those things, just a normal perceiving mind. Yeah, that it requires two things basically: that things are appearing in a certain way, and that you're able to perceive them or establish you're perceiving them with that unimpaired mind. So they're saying that things exist around you if these two components are there. So if the gut chuck was not there, what would that be like? If the gut chuck was not how things are, you would have to have one or two of those things not existing. Yeah, you would have to have a thing not appearing to you and you not perceiving them in a certain way. I'm going to give you, actually before we do that, maybe it's, if we think about it like a radio, you know, we have sound waves. That could be the thing appearing, yeah? It's not yet sound waves. And you need a perception, a receptor or something that switches on the radio and then you can hear the bloody thing. Right? Maybe that's another way of explaining those two differences. So let's give you, have you heard of the story or the example to illustrate the gut chuck and how things appear? Have you heard of the example of the magic show? Have you heard of that? No? So Cliff is practicing a real magic show. When magic shows really happened in India, there's a science, if you like, where you could really, so if you've traveled to India or Nepal, actually I saw one of these in Nepal, it's so funny. There is some magician that has some special powers, and they'll grab a stick or a thing or an object or something, and the crowd will look upon that thing and they will cast a spell, either with powder or with something. They'll cast a spell over the crowd in certain ways, and I wasn't there for the spell part, but I did experience people freaking out at this thing, and I was wondering what it was that they were seeing. But the example given in scripture to explain these things, the gut chuck and how emptiness works, is this magic show. So it refers to these ancient Indian magicians that get a crowd, they get an object, let's say a stick, and upon casting the spell on the crowd under this illusion that they perceive the stick as a cow or a horse, and they are seeing a horse or they are seeing a cow, and so they are a metaphor for how things are existing and how we are experiencing those things. So you need an object appearing as a thing, right? It was the explanation of how things exist. And then you need a perception, right? In this case, the stick you're seeing as a horse, right? If you're a spectator under the influence, you're seeing this thing, a horse, and you are thinking that really is a horse. You're reacting to this thing as if it's coming at you and you're scared of it, and that's the bakchak. So, and then there's a metaphor about what that means as well. So the appearance of a horse is required upon some kind of basis, some kind of thing. In this case, it's a stick. Yeah, for the flower, they say that there's something needed for you to perceive a flower. In this case, it's, I don't know what spell you're under, but you're seeing a flower. They say that if the horse did not have a basis or a thing for which it could appear as a horse, if there was no stick, what would you be perceiving? Nothing? Could you perceive of a horse if there was no stick?
No.
Why?
Because there's nothing that you can project
Excellent.
the perception onto.
If that good, because if you could, then anything could appear as a horse. Anything could perceive. Yeah. If you didn't need a thing, if you didn't need a basis, if you didn't need the stick to see the horse, then everything could be a horse, or everything could be a flower. Right? Good. Excellent. So you need the stick to project your perception onto. So you need a basis for the thing appearing to you as a horse, and then of course you need your mind to meet that thing. Yeah, and call it a horse. So let's the bakchak in this case is the horse.
That's a nature.
You keep saying bakchak, and are you meaning...
Bakchak.
What is that? You mean gotcha?
Gotcha. Sorry, did I say bakchak?
Yeah.
I apologize. It's my ethnicity. You know, it's Spanish. It's a Spanish for gotcha. So the spectators are seeing a horse, which let's say like me in Nepal, I came in late and I didn't see why everybody was freaking out at this thing on the middle of the ring. Right? I actually got a picture, maybe I'll bring it next time. Everyone's like freaking out, and there's this stick, this long stick in the middle of this ring of people, and they're all like, whoa, 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 and I'm like, what's the big deal? It's a stick. Right? So someone that comes in too late, that wasn't under the spell, yeah, of the magician, would see what? Would see the thing as it is, for its nature, for the stickness.
It does have
Yeah.
self-nature.
Wow, good. But everybody else is seeing a horse. What's the magician seeing?
Stick.
What's the magician seeing?
Everybody else seeing the horse.
So he must be able to perceive that he's imputing a horse or creating a horse for everybody to interact with, otherwise he couldn't make the spell work. So he must see a horse. So in this metaphor, he sees the horse, but he knows it's not a horse. The spectators see a horse, but believe it's a horse from its own side, not a stick. Yeah? And I, or the third person, comes in and sees a bunch of idiots, right, going whoa, whoa, over a stick. And I don't see a horse. We don't see a horse. We just see a stick. And a bunch of people responding weirdly to a stick. right?
It seems to me that the issue could be easily resolved. Someone there who actually who had experience riding horses.
to try and ride the horse. They're so overwhelmed. In this example, they are so overwhelmed and so scared that in front of them is this massive cow or horse where they didn't expect one to be, that no one thought of it, you know?
Okay.
It's very interesting.
Well, it's bad that we try this spell in a different group of people.
True. We should try it here. So, Cliff, would you be kind enough to try it here when you figure out the magic part?
I'd love to do it. Matter of fact, I got even a better idea.
Okay.
But that would be, what you're talking about, conventional truth. It's a very important thing that you raised. When you're talking a minute about a mind that's not correct, that's intoxicated or crazy, how you determine what's I don't want to say true deceptive truth, but a true conventional truth, which what actually exists conventionally correctly, and something that's a false conventional truth, like an imaginary horse, is that it can't perform the function that you attribute to. So you're absolutely right in that if the horse can't be ridden, then it's illusion. So it's a false conventional truth. That probably confused you more than anything.
No.
It's a very good point.
It's like the rope and the snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's very important.
But for the purposes of understanding the gacha and to get a smell of emptiness, which we're going to talk about next week, let's think about what we talked about last week. And in terms of understanding the true nature of what's happening, what's the metaphor of the spectators? Who are they? What understanding of reality do they have in this metaphor? Right, so they're like most of us walking around the planet thinking that there are horses running around where there really aren't horses from their own side. Okay? So they have not had a direct perception of emptiness. They have not understood where that horse comes from.
What happens if there are people there who have seen it? They don't get the illusion, right?
It's just a metaphor for getting No, for the third person coming in, let's look at, first of all, let's look at the magician. For the magician seeing a horse but not believing there's a horse, it's a metaphor for whom? Someone who's perceived the ultimate nature of how things function, knows it's just a stick.
But he's the one deceiving everybody.
Sorry?
Magician is deceiving everyone.
Yeah, it's not. Let's not drill down to the metaphor to the nth degree. It's just to give you a flavor. I know. It's just to give you a flavor of how things are appearing. We are all dealing with horses. Yeah, we are all under some magic spell called humans. Yeah, and animals and anybody in the desire realm, which is forced to see things as if they are from their own side. This is a real cup and this is real fluid. And it's good fluid, and it's that way out there separate to me. It's a horse. Yeah? The yelling boss, so here's the, sorry, before I go there, and then the third person that came in and saw the crowd and saw people freaking out at a stick and a magician going, ha ha ha, maybe he was being nice. Yeah. What's that a metaphor for?
This circle of samsara.
Sorry?
The circle of samsara.
It's funny because I looked this up and it said someone who is not a Buddha, and I thought, why is that? That is in the direct perception of emptiness. So it's a metaphor for somebody who can actually see the ultimate nature of things, the stickness of this situation, not the way it's appearing to the convention in the room, which is horses, yeah? So someone who's in the direct perception of emptiness is experiencing what the thing that lies behind the appearance is, yeah? So just to get it straight in your head, because you're going to be asked this at the exam next week, the metaphor here is trying to get you to step outside a little bit to say things are appearing in our world. We think they are horses. We think that they are like that, but we don't know that we are under this spell until we try and maybe ride the horse. Yeah, and until we try and investigate it, We don't know that we're under this spell where things are appearing a certain way, but they're not that way. So one person in that room could see that they are producing, that they created this illusion. They could see both realities. Yeah?
Right.
They know it's not a horse. They know people are seeing horses. They don't believe it's a horse. Yeah? Everyone else is seeing a horse, and the last person to walk in that was never there when the spell got cast, that's a metaphor for a person in the direct perception of emptiness that knows where things are coming from. And then I asked I tried to look up why is it that it's a non-Buddha? And why would you think that it's
the third one.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Why did they describe it as a non-Buddha, in the metaphor for a non-Buddha in the direct perception of emptiness?
Yeah.
Oh, because a Buddha has to give you your I forgot what you call it, like he gives you a date when you're going to be a Buddha after you receive emptiness?
No, because a Buddha, when they're sitting there,
Because a Buddha can always see
Thank
things
you.
from him. But when this guy can see what the Buddha sees always, he's not a Buddha who can see what the Buddha can see.
I don't know if I got it.
Yeah, I think what you said was that a Buddha is omniscient in that he can see both emptiness and conventional reality
exactly.
at the same time. So he sees the illusion and he sees what
Yeah, always.
the actual, what's actually there.
There's no time really, but yeah.
The Arya, or the Bodhisattva, they can just see emptiness or they can see conventional reality. One or the other, but not both at the same time. So he walked in, so he's just seeing the ultimate reality.
Yeah. It's great. It's good. You've got it.
Does that mean that they're not under the same spell? So the third person walking in is not human, is what we say, because they don't have that spell at all.
They don't have that spell. Yeah, they could be in the direct perception of emptiness. And then you can argue are they human while they're in the direct perception of emptiness.
But it's not a spell, it's just a trick. It's not a spell. It's
Yeah,
no
but
spell,
if
it's just an
you're
analogy.
human, that's the karma you get. That's the spell you're under. Right? I mean,
So what's the spell a metaphor for?
karma.
No,
Wisdom.
the spell.
Gotcha.
The magic spell. What's a metaphor for?
Gotcha.
Ignorance. Yeah, we're under the influence of not understanding how things really exist. We're all in this hypnosis that say, I am behaving towards every single thing as if it existed out there. Because I don't understand them, ultimately, I behave to them with ignorance. What ignorance? Ignorance that they don't exist from their own side. That's all that means. Ignorance of thinking that they are self-existent. That there's something outside of you. Again, not even dependent origination. We think that things are out there. We treat everything as if it's out there. And so every action we have of mind, speech, or body towards those things are smeared with the spell.
You're all wrong with that anymore. It's that third person you just said. They just had
It's a metaphor. So it's a metaphor to say they didn't get the spell. You know? So maybe they've escaped. They're in the direct perception of emptiness. They're temporarily outside the desirable.
So how can they be only in that direct perception? In the metaphor of what you're saying.
Great question.
I'm saying, how can you have only that and not see this?
Great question. Here it is. Yeah. You study emptiness intellectually like this. You stretch your mind. You keep a really good motivation. You practice the training of morality with that information. You practice the training of meditation until you get so good at it that you sit in your cushion after you've practiced enough, you've understood some of this stuff in detail, and at some point you have a direct perception of emptiness. You are no longer you. You don't even think of yourself having that experience. In that moment, inverted commas, yeah, or that time, that you are no longer in the desire realm, you're not even in the form realm. Yeah? Sorry, you're in the first level of the form realm. In that time, you are the third karma coming into seeing, yeah? But you're not self-aware. I mean, it's just a metaphor. They're trying, what all this is a simplistic way to try and say, application. You encounter, and this is what really you should do over the next week as you try and figure this out. What is dependent origination? What is emptiness? What is the gacha? Yeah? What is the thing that could never exist? And what is that spell that I'm under? And you should find 1 or 2 instances in your week where you are either really wanting something stupidly, like I can't wait to have that, I'm so impatient, I want it. In that way it's a disturbance. Or you are not wanting something stupidly, I wish they would go away, I wish they'd talk faster, I wish they'd do this, I wish, and you're filled with stupidity, because that's where you're under the spell most. I mean, we're under the spell all the time, but that's where it's most evident when you are distressed, because you're dealing with a gacha. Yeah? So you are most distressed. So find 1 or 2 or 3 instances as best as you can in the next week. Have it in your mind to say, there is something odd that I am not understanding about this. There is something I don't get about this. If I did understand, if I could really see the stick, or even understand that the stick is a horse, yeah, either or, if I could really see that about this situation. So when you're in front of your lover and you're having another fight about the dishes, if you're at work and you're having another disappointment about your colleague, if you don't like the way your jeans fit and you think it's because of the jeans or because of hipsters in whatever, and you're having an unreasonable experience inside that is distasteful and throws you separate, yeah, it makes you ugh, that's when you should grasp onto whatever you've tried, whatever you got out of today about the gacha, about dependent origination, about emptiness, and say, what is it about this that I don't understand? What's the horse in this? Because that thing is the horse. So if this is the horse, what is lying behind that experience? What could have possibly caused that experience if it doesn't come from it? If it's not coming out there, the shitty boss, the shitty wife, the angry work, whatever it is, if it's not coming out there forcing that in me, because that's what I'm trying to understand this week, where is it coming from? What is producing that? Where is that being produced? And really investigate, really look for it. And then next week when we talk about emptiness, it might make some sense. I know that it was a frustrating class, and I want it to be a little bit like that. Bird?
The scary part was you said next week is the exam.
It's
I
not.
gotcha.
That was a gotcha.
He meant the quiz. He meant the quiz.
Yeah, quiz. Thank you. Yeah, that's funny. Okay. Let's think about something. Kuki Jushin Metom Tram Rira Lingshin Yinde Empati Sangha Shindu Mite Wargi Dropun Namda Shinla Juparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami Digawokun Sunam Yashe Tsotsok Shim Sunam Yashe Lejunwe Rampa Kuni Toparsho. And if you still have that teacher or being on top of your head, shrink them down to the size of a pea and smaller until they're very, very bright, and they enter the crown of your head and come down to the level of your heart, just in front of your spine. And there's a universe in there from which they sit and stay with you. Thank you for coming to this class.
Thank you.
announcement.
Yeah.
Our dear Lama Hector. All of us would like to thank you for just showing up in our world as a teacher and giving us
This is
wisdom,
suspicious.
giving us patience, love, wisdom every week. And we would like to give you our offering and ask something of you.
Thank you. Very formal, people. You better ask 3 times. Thank you, Peter. This is beautiful, people. Thank you. Leave. This is very suspicious. Gracias. Gracias. Wow. This is very sweet, people. Thank you so much. May whatever you want really ripen on you quickly. This is very special. Thank you. Thank you. Keep asking those questions. Please. Thank you. Wow. Ay.
Will you please give us refuge vows? Wait, he has to answer the first time. He has to answer the first time.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, of course I could.
Will you please give us refuge vows?
Of course I could, of course I could.
Will you please give us refuge vows?
Absolutely. We should. We'll do it by text. So let's plan on it. Let's do it after the exam. Yeah, not next week. Let's let's think about what that means really, 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 so you make it so special. That you see the long-term result of taking refuge. That whatever you do to go into it in your mind, you charge up as best as you can to make it the most explosive, instant, all-encompassing karma that changes your world completely. And so I would happily do a ceremony maybe here the week after the exam, the Thursday after the exam. But I'll ask you in exchange if you could keep a diary, a daily diary of what refuge can do for your existence. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So if someone could explain it.
So we've just been learning about refuge in a very convoluted way. Yeah. And the first few classes on refuge described this idea of finding something in your world that gave you ultimate protection from any suffering, from any mental affliction, from death and the rest. That there is something that could possibly, Buddhists believe that there is something that can ultimately protect you. So your mum can protect you from your sister, yeah? The police can protect you to some degree from your robbery. Some medicine sometimes protect you from illness, but none of those things ultimately protect you. So Buddhists believe that three things ultimately protect you. At the end of the day, it's a deep understanding, a realization on emptiness. It's the only thing that will protect you. And so people ask for refuge vows, where they keep certain commitments, they keep certain vows. And then upon taking those vows, you're planting a very intense cause for that protection to occur in you. That's the simplest way to do it. So people are asking if they could take the very first level of Buddhist vows, or one of the first levels of Buddhist vows, vowed morality, yeah, to say that I would make a conscious effort to focus on these things, these vows, yeah, and what they mean for me internally. My life, I will externally behave in a certain way, internally think in a certain way around how the world appears to me with this understanding. So I vow, I make a commitment that for the rest of my life, of this human life that I have, that I will do certain things to try and shift the shitty existence into a blissful one. And so they're asking if they could do that, yeah, if I would give them refuge vows. And for those that would like them, I'm more than happy to. But please keep a diary that I would like to talk with you individually about before we give the refuge vows. Yeah, so by the day of the exam we can talk about that individually or in group. I don't mind, however you want to do that. And it would be a precious, precious thing to do it as a group. When people take refuge, they get given a Buddhist name, because you become a different being. You actually plant the courses to become a different being. Yeah, that's it. That's what they're asking. And I'd be more than happy to. I feel really honored. Yeah,
Is that something that is a sacred, I know it is sacred, but is it something you have to, it's a process that you work up to it? Or, this is my first time here, so. I have a little catching up to do.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it's just an honest.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's a great question. To take Buddhist Refuge, you can do that action with whatever level of understanding. People coming to Refuge have very different levels of understanding. People take refuge many times from different lamas and different people. You could do some catching up. If you understand the catching up, you could easily take refuge and then get a deeper and deeper level of understanding of what produced that experience for you. Does that make sense? So if you're compelled to, or something drew you to a class where people had to do this thing and you're like, I'm here, then something is there for you. Talk to some of the people about what it means in detail. But there's no like, you need to do 3 courses before we get you a refuge. But we do need to understand what it means for you and to what level of understanding you're at, so then refuge can become a course for enlightenment rather than just another thing I've got in my pocket. Yeah? So, depends on your motivation is the short answer. Cool, thank you so much, people. That's very, very precious. And for the first time, I'm actually going to take the flowers home, and we're going to do some chuki mamoks, as my dad would say. Yeah, we'll do some chuki mamoks with these. Thank you so much. That's very precious. So those that want to sign up, who's the boss of the Refuge Club? Is that Sakura? Yeah. So Sakura is the boss of the Refuge Club. Thank you so much for that. We'll give you one of these. And your task, should you choose to accept it, is to keep it alive until then.
This looks familiar.
Yeah, no. And so if you have any questions, talk to Sakura. If you want to, if you're going to organize the ceremony, I'll show up. We can have a quick chat about what my side of the ceremony is and what your side of the ceremony is. But you know, it's a full-on ceremony. We should be dressed in Louis Vuitton. Check.
Can we see what date it is? Can we put it in?
I think it's the 27th of October, the day after my birthday. Is that correct? The Thursday after we finish? Because I think
It's the 27th.
It's the 29th. And I need to, oh wait, no.
Thursday the 27th.
because the 20th is the last day of this class. It's the
27th.
exam, right? Yeah. So it's the 27th of October. So that's a good day. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's do that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions, Sakura? And then she's the conduit. Yeah.
Please leave me your email. Okay.
And
That means the test is on the